And now, it's that time of the week once again. Welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast with your hosts, Tom Whittle and Steve Wooldridge. Your ticket to the home of aviation podcasts. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast here on the Departure Lounge YouTube channel, Visions International, and of course, Visions Aviation live on Facebook. Good evening, everybody. Hope you are all well. My name is Tom Whittle, and joining me this evening is not Steve Wooldridge as the co-host, but temporarily stepping in this evening is, of course, Ian Hartley. Ian, welcome to the show, and welcome to being co-host for the evening.
Yeah. It's I've got a big pair of boots to fill tonight, I think, Tom, but I think I'll manage all right. I know Steve's not so good at the moment, and you'll have to forgive me as well. I'm full of a snotty cold as well. I'm just getting shut off, so there might be an occasion where I have a coughing fit or whatever. So forgive me for that.
I'm sure we can let that go.
Cheers.
So apart from that, how are you? How's your week been?
All good. What we on Wednesday? So yeah, it's not been up to much really. Done a bit of fishing again earlier this week. Got a few bits and pieces out, and as you know, Tom did a couple of flights with you as well today.
We did, yes. Yeah. We spent a good 6 hours pottering around Flight Sim today, which was good fun. That was really good fun. Won't obviously happen all the time, but yeah, nice to do that actually.
Yeah, not done it for a while, have we?
No, definitely not. But it was definitely definitely enjoyable on that occasion. Wonderful. So let's get into the housekeeping before we run through some hellos and then get into tonight's topic of conversation. So as you can see on the bottom of the screen, we are on social medias. I know we say this every week, but we go through them anyway. We are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. If you wish to follow us on there to keep up to date with everything to do with the channel. Also, if you want to see us do a little bit of gaming, you can find us on Twitch as well on there. We'll give a quick shout out to Visions Aviation. If you're not subscribed or liking the page already, do so. It's wonderful to sort of be part of a wonderful community. If that's your kind of thing, get involved. So that's wonderful. And again, thank you to Ken and Sarah for the opportunity to stream here. Also, we have a shop which you can buy the content. You can buy the merchandise. There we go. If you so wish, you can find that in the description below. If it doesn't work, let me know and I'll fix that as soon as I can. So if you wish to support the channel, you can buy the merch there. And lastly, if you wish to be a guest on the show, all you've got to do is contact us on the social medias in the description below, and we'll get you on the show as soon as possible. One last thing, do stick with us until the end of the show because we've got a very, very special guest coming next week, which I'm looking forward to, and I know you are looking forward to, Ian, as well. Because
absolutely, Tom. Yeah, definitely
part of the show when this was happening. So, do stick around for that. We've got a very big guest next week. So, without further ado, let's go and say hello to some wonderful people that are in the chat. So, Ian, if you'd like to do the honours.
I will start going through these. We've got Thomas Job. He's saying hola. I didn't know it was hola. Is that
hola?
Yeah,
Spanish.
Phil Tovey there. I hope everyone is fine today. From Warwick in Warwickshire. So hi to you, Phil. Let's have a quick look here. Hi guys, from Leslie White. Good evening, everyone. Hope you all enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, and share. Cheers. And that's from Visions International. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've got quite a few. We've got Transatlantic Allison saying hi guys. Hope you're all well. So hello to you, Alison. Let's have a look. We've got Steve Plains watching. I don't know who he is. I'm watching him for presenting tips. Sorry, I couldn't. Yeah, watch carefully, Steve. You'll learn a tip or two here.
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. He must be a first-time watcher.
Must be. Yeah. Well, good evening to you, Steve. Anyway, and we've got Martin. So I think they must be sharing the same laptop or something because they seem to be commenting together. So he's saying, "Get well soon, Steve." So happy days. T and Hartley there. Good to tag y'all. So Jeff Hughes, evening guys. We've got loads of people in here saying hi to everybody. Sarah Pass saying hi to Tom in here. So if we've missed anybody out, so Webbo as well to you, and good evening to you, and Leslie White, Phil Tovey. There's loads of names in there.
There's quite a few in there.
Fantastic.
Quite a few.
Jeff Hughes as well there. Good evening to you. So
of course, the one and only Jim Gemmell is in there.
Of course, Jim as well. Yeah.
Can't forget Jim. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this evening. So, what we want from you before we get off and underway, as you know, our topic of this evening is to do with the return of Flybe. So, what we want from you guys in the comments is to tell us all about your memories, your favorite flights, or anything that sort of sticks with you with Flybe, whether it's old or new. And we'll get them sort of read out.
I think any nugget about
any
Flybe,
nugget
really.
of info,
Absolutely.
Impress us. Go ahead and impress us with.
We can include it in what we're about to say, can't we? So that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
What I do want to ask as well, because I know this was pointed out last week, is I want to know if Alison's actually watching from Bridgetown.
That's a good
shout. She said she would be. So I want to make sure she's actually in Bridgetown watching us this evening before her return flight. Yeah. So if you are. Wonderful. Yeah. Anyway, let's crack into tonight's show, which is, of course, like I said, is all about Flybe. Now, of course, rumours were spiraling about the return of Flybe, and of course, over the last couple of weeks or so, it's been confirmed that Flybe are indeed coming back, as we've seen numerous aircraft be painted over the last sort of couple of weeks, and of course, they've also recently announced that they are launching a whole bunch of routes, which we'll go through to begin with. So. We are sticking with a theme for this evening. We're going to be splitting it into 3 sections of sort of the old Flybe. Then we'll have sort of the rumours and how they circulated. And then at the very end, towards the end, we'll get on to the main sort of bulk of it, which, of course, is the new Flybe. But Ian, let's kick things off with the new Flybe. Just how did we get to this stage where we had to try and find a new one?
Well, I mean, it's sorry about that. It's been a long and checkered history for him and all that, and I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of rumours floating around. I mean, we could go into when they finally died, I suppose you want to call it that, before they sort of resurrected themselves. But there were a lot of money, I think, swapping hands, and a lot of this and a lot of that going on, I think, weren't there? And I think when Virgin and Starbite took them over right at the death, I don't think they had its best intentions at heart. To be quite honest, in my opinion, that's what I think anyway. And sadly, I mean, I could just quickly whip through my notes and say that when they bought it, the consortium bought it, that they bought the shares from Flybe for 1 penny a share. When they floated it on the stock market, they floated it for something like, I think it was 295 pence per share. So they built the business up and it was doing quite well. And then obviously things happened, COVID and all the rest of it, and the government stopped bailing them out, and Loganair were sort of growing as well, I suppose, if you want. And it just sort of, I don't know, I just don't think Starbite and Virgin wanted to pump any more money into it and keep it going. I just think it were, I don't know, I think it was just a dying dog, I suppose, weren't it? I think it was just on its way out and they just let it fizzle out, didn't they? So, yeah, but it's nice to see him coming back again. That's the main thing.
Absolutely, because I think the main thing that a lot of people associate the old Flybe with, including sort of people where I live down in the southwest of England, and sort of the more remote areas, I know like the real like north of Scotland as well, was that it provided a connection for like people, people like me that live in the southwest of England. You are probably 2 hours away from an airport, or by train, if you want to go to London, you're looking at least like 3.5, 4 hours on a train. Flybe gave you the option to fly from a place like Newquay, to like half hour, 45 minutes, and then to Gatwick or to Heathrow like they did before,
Yeah.
you were getting that option of a connection to then maybe go on to, I don't know, say like a New York or a European destination, rather than having to spend all day traveling. Flybe gave you that option. And of course, once that was taken away from everybody, it's kind of left a massive gap, but not just the people of the Southwest. Airports like Exeter, which was sort of the old base for the old Flybe, were heavily reliant. Like if you go to Exeter now, you'll hardly see anything. Like anything. Maybe the odd Ryanair or, the odd sort of, private jet and things like that. But yeah, right now you will not see a lot of things there. So Exeter was a massive connection point as well, because that's kind of what they were there for, was mainly to be a connecting airline onto bigger airports and things like that. Of course, they don't have that now, and of course now that they're coming back, fingers crossed that they can associate places like Exeter and Newquay again, and think actually we can get a little bit of service there from Birmingham. I know Birmingham was a route from Newquay, I think, and of course Manchester was one. So if it can provide that connection again, then you'll quickly sort of forget about the old the old Flybe, and then the new Flybe will probably give you a bit more of a sort of comfortable sort of feeling about actually going on to the second sort of reincarnation of them.
I mean, you'd like to think so, and like you say, I think it's a fledgling business again now. It's been started up from scratch, isn't it? It's not being taken over by anybody. It's actually starting again from scratch, and I think, I mean, there's people, Tom, down there who are cleverer than us, who are thinking about all these kinds of things, what you're saying now. And I'm sure that they'll realise that, like you say, it's not just the southwest of England, for instance. It's the, I don't know, northeast of England, far northwest of England, for instance. Even like in your border countries, your borders and the top to Scotland and places like that. There's a lot of these places which all have these regional airports. I mean, we didn't ever get Flybe into Blackpool Airport, but we've got a cracking little regional airport at Blackpool there, and nobody uses it. But it's one of these kinds of destinations, really, or one of these kind of places. What could do with something like that? And I think they'll obviously start with the busiest and the most profitable routes, and I will probably say the Southwest has to be one of them, hasn't it? And then take it from there, really, and hopefully build themselves up into a good, challenging company. What some of these, so they can challenge some of these other regional carriers. That's the word I'm looking for. Like your EasyJets and your Logan Air are doing these kind of flights now. So
so it's strange because you say sort of building from the ground up, but it's almost like assets were bought and then it was literally, like you say, just then built from the ground up.
Absolutely.
What did we say beforehand? It was like 4 aircraft they had. Now,
I think it's 4 aircraft, and I think they've got 16 routes planned, haven't they?
Yeah, the routes we'll get onto a little bit later, but so there's a bit of an expansion going on there, and having looked at the routes and stuff, there are some interesting routes there as well. But there's a particular question from first-time watcher Steve Plains, who says, "Does it surprise/disappoint Tom in particular that they've chosen Birmingham and not Exeter for the new base?" I think it does in a way, because I think a lot of people, again, it's to do with regional sections. I think down here, I think it was a massive shame that they chose Birmingham. Personally, I mean, unless someone wants to tell me in the comments or anything like that, I don't personally know why they've all of a sudden gone, we're not going to choose Exeter as our base. We'll use Birmingham. Is it the fact that Birmingham's busier and landing fees are not so expensive? Because I'm sure it's probably the same at Exeter, but it's a strange one why they've not chosen to go back to Exeter, knowing that it's quite a reliable place for them, and gone off to Birmingham for it. Maybe it'll change over time once they sort of think, well, maybe we can go elsewhere and start having little bases elsewhere, like Ryanair. But it's interesting to it did disappoint me in particular, because to me, I kind of wanted that Flybe to be like, right, this is how I remember Flybe. This is what they should be. But to move them up to Birmingham, I think is it's a bit strange to me.
I mean, Birmingham's central, isn't it, for a start? And I think a lot of, I know the business I work for, it's a centrally based business, and it branches out all over the country. So you think Birmingham's quite a natural hub for anything, to be quite honest, being central. So I would imagine something, the logistics behind moving to Birmingham probably was a lot better than actually moving to Exeter. Just even with,
there you go. Hingle puts it. Yeah,
it's a better
Hingle says
location,
it.
more central. I mean, even getting stuff into Birmingham, you've got the rail network there, you've got the road network there. You've got it in Exeter, but on a smaller scale, haven't you? So, and I don't think, I mean, how busy is Birmingham Airport? It's sort of a regional airport. What's forgot about, isn't it? To be fair,
regional but quite busy.
Yeah.
So maybe the passenger numbers were quite exciting. They could never base it from Heathrow or Gatwick or anything like that. But maybe Birmingham was sort of the next best thing. Like Hinkle said and like you said, it is pretty much the centre of the country. And then maybe that's just what they thought was, we'll base it in the centre and then just expand out.
Yeah.
From their sort of thing. So
we might have got a good deal with building prices and they had the hangar network there and things like that and landing fees and things like that. Birmingham might have given them an offer they couldn't refuse, to be quite honest.
Yeah, so, it's strange because for me as like a football fan as well, you associate Flybe with the likes of Exeter City, and like Exeter City. I know Southampton were sponsored by them as well. For a while, so you do associate Flybe with sort of the south of England. So to them to be sort of now based in the Midlands almost feels a bit odd. But if it works for them and it's center and then just spread out over time, then good luck to them.
I mean, there's nothing stopping them, is there? Like creating these smaller regional hubs like Exeter, like Blackpool, for instance, or even like somewhere like, I don't know, Darlington or something like that. There's these other little places where they could branch out to eventually, given time and see what the success rate is.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be an instant hit, to be quite honest, just because of it's particularly with aviation enthusiasts and I suppose people who commuted a lot. It's still quite fresh, isn't it? It's one of the it's quite a fresh wound, isn't it? If you want, and to see him be resurrected again so quickly, it's quite a successful story, and it's quite a nice story for a change, isn't it, to see somebody like that come back?
I mean, we'll just have to wait and see sort of what happens, and fingers crossed that this will work for them. I think that's kind of what we're hoping for here, is because I think, like I said, they were, especially with sort of how cheap some of the flights were. So for example, I flew on them Newquay to London Gatwick, and that was like a 3-4 night stay, and for a return was like 70 quid.
Yeah, it's for notes, isn't it?
It's pretty much for note, like you say. So if they can keep the prices sort of at that level, and they can get the traffic in, which no doubt they will.
Oh yeah.
Then I think they'll be a big success, I think.
Yeah, I think they can give Loganair a good run for the money as well. From what I believe, I think Loganair's prices, they can be quite expensive sometimes, can't they? And I think Loganair, as far as regional flight and smaller companies rather than EasyJet or someone like that, I think they dominated the market, really, didn't they, for a few years? And I think that Flybe will give them a good run for the money, won't they?
I think so.
And hopefully it should do something with price structures, what they've got.
Yeah, we had a chat. We had a chat in the group chat that we've got, and I think Marco said something about the prices for like Eastern as well, and they were sort of astronomical in terms of prices. And you think, long gone are the days where like a Flybe would cost maybe half of what Eastern were charging, sort of thing. So maybe that'd be a case of, I mean, I know obviously like Flybe, or the old Flybe and Loganair had like a partnership sort of happening. Whether that will continue now into the new Flybe or not, or whether Flybe will just go off as their own entity or not, will be completely different.
That remains to be seen, doesn't it? I think you could call the partnerships what they had, because they had one with BA Connect as well, didn't they? And I think after BA Connect and after Logan Air, I think it all started to go pear-shaped for them, didn't it? Because Finnair got involved at one point as well, didn't they? With Nordic, Flybe Nordic were it, and then that sort of went belly up as well, didn't it? Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? There's, like we say, there's cleverer people down there who know what they're doing, hopefully, and they'll make a success of this business, won't they? The network's there and the infrastructure's there for them. All you have to do is provide the service now, isn't it? So
absolutely. Going back to what you said earlier, in regards to sort of Virgin Connect, buying them out and funding them. Transatlantic Allison says that Connect had big plans for them, but unfortunately, the SLE completed just as the pandemic started to bite them because of that funds that were there disappeared, which ultimately then led to obviously the demise of them over time. Yeah. So it does make you think like what would have happened. You've had like airlines in the past, like a Monaco or Thomas Cook, hit financial difficulties at times and then get bailed out for it.
Yeah. Well, the government tried bailing them out, didn't they? And it's I think the government had to stop bailing them out, didn't they? There was a lot of backlash, weren't there, over it? And I think when you look at likes of Richard Branson, I mean, he's got bigger businesses than Flybe, to be fair, hasn't he? So he was more interested in saving Virgin Atlantic, I suppose, and his other Virgin parts of his empire, sort of thing. So the money sort of did go elsewhere, didn't it? Unfortunately.
Yeah. Julia Nolan saying that it was a great regional airline. I have to completely agree. Yeah, I know that off of my 2 flights I've had with Flybe. The service is fantastic, like really, really good. Was fantastic rather, because obviously I'm interested to try out the new Flybe when they actually do. Because one of my goals was to actually fly the Dash 8.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Like Newquay to Heathrow, like that was on my list of things to do, and then obviously they went away, and it was like, oh, maybe not then. So, I think even to if you take away Flybe, there are no Dash 8 operators in the UK.
No,
apart from Flybe. So, to see the fleet coming back is going to be pretty good for not just like flyers, but like spotters as well. Because
absolutely, you could never mistake a Flybe, a Q400 flying over. You could always hear them, but you need your eyes like a bloody hawk to see them, because they weren't that high up, but there were only little purple dots in the sky, and that were it. So they're always fantastic to see. You could always hear them. And down at Manchester, there were flocks of them. They were fantastic.
Oh God, yeah. God,
used to love watching Dash 8s.
Hydra APUs. Jack Rolls is in the house. He says the only time I managed to see Flybe is 2013 in the standard livery, but I won't forget the sound of the Dash 8. And to have them back, hopefully they do pop into Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think they'll probably give Bournemouth a miss.
And that's I mean, I know you're probably joking there, but I don't see them going into Bournemouth.
No.
Just on a
excuse me.
Yeah, don't sort of see that happening. Ken Carr has joined us on Facebook, as well as, of course, monitoring YouTube, saying hi, everyone. So hello to you joining us. Just going to go through some more comments here in regards to what we've just been talking about. Transatlantic Allison says that Birmingham has capacity after Thomas Cook failed, so deals would have been available.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that makes a bit more sense. Will P on YouTube says, I hope Flybe come back to Liverpool Airport. Yeah. There's a lot of people hoping for this.
Yeah, that's going to be one of their hopping into Liverpool. I think that'll be one of the target destinations. It has to be, hasn't it? Liverpool, certainly Manchester, but Liverpool will be nice too.
Yeah. Transatlantic Allison. Yeah, Transatlantic Allison believes that the Leeds to Heathrow route will sell quite well. It normally does quite well, I think. Because I'm trying to think of who flies it at the moment. If there is a flight at the moment, I can't think off the top of my head, but I'm sure someone will tell me. Julia Nolan on Facebook saying she flew with Flybe from Amsterdam to Manchester, and they had a great route to Hanover because they didn't spread out too far in the European market either. You had the likes of I think Hanover was one. I'm trying to sort of think how far they went really, but I know Hanover was probably.
Yeah, well, I think we've touched on European markets before, and it's pretty much a saturated market, isn't it? With your KLM City Hoppers, your Lufthansas, and even EasyJets and Ryanairs. There's that many people at it, isn't there? That another little particularly now a fledgling airline like Flybe. I don't think it's going to touch the markets just yet, is it?
No,
I don't think it's going to want to, is it?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. Visions International, have they announced new routes yet? Yes, they have. We'll go over those shortly because there is there's quite a few of them. We'll tell you when they're coming into play as well. So we've got the full list of what they plan on doing, the dates, and how many times a week, and we'll go through that towards the end of the show. Jack Rolls again says, one of my favourite aircraft what Flybe used was the de Havilland Dash 8. The power for a medium-sized aircraft is incredible. I'd go for probably a small-sized plane, personally.
Yeah.
Once again, Steve Plains, he's popping in quite a few times this evening. Must be, if you ain't subscribed already, Steve Plains, do consider. He says, you say that I've done some research. October 4th to the 7th, Heathrow to Amsterdam, Flybe, £120, BA £82. Have I read that correctly? Flybe, 100, BA 82. Oh, right, yeah. 82, Gatwick to Amsterdam. EasyJet, £57 all returns. See, even then, do you know what I mean? That's not that bad.
No. Well, I mean, you look at, there's obviously a massive difference there in price, isn't there? But like Heathrow or Gatwick, you're paying, aren't you? You're paying that little bit extra premium, aren't you, to fly out of Heathrow, I would imagine. So that's probably why it is the price it is. And and even such a small carrier aren't going to get the fuel deals what an established carrier like EasyJet or Ryanair's got, because they buy their fuel. I think Ryanair, I read that they buy their fuel 3 years before they actually use it. So that's how far in front they actually are, Ryanair. And Flybe just haven't got that capability at the moment, have they, to be fair? So I imagine the credit score is quite low as well at the moment compared to Ryanair and EasyJet, isn't it? So, people are going to be a bit more wary of them, aren't they, creditors and people like that?
Yeah.
So, well,
Very true. Transatlantic Alison hoping for the prices to drop.
I'm sure they will.
That's in reference to Steve's comment there about the £120. I'm sure they will, but
I'm sure they will.
It's the same with a lot of things, isn't it? You have to start relatively higher in order to then drum up. It's all about trying to build business and things like that, isn't it? And then once you know you're getting the business, then you'll start to bring it back down again. So
yeah.
Fingers crossed. Phil Tovey on Facebook says, I remember the last Flybe starting up from the main airport and going over to the cargo area to be repainted. The last Flybe starting up from the main airport. So that must be the last plane in the colours, maybe, possibly. Thank you for sharing that. Julian Nolan says that the Dash 8 is great to fly on. You guys are making me jealous because I really want to go on one.
Yeah, I want to go on one as well. Dash 8. I think it's on everyone's bucket list, isn't it, to fly on a Dash 8?
Yeah, I'd love to go on one.
Yeah.
Ken Carr says, I will be dashing for the Dash 8s. I'll get my coat. One thing for that.
Nice.
There we go. First time this evening we've used that. Transatlantic Alison answering my question about who did Leeds to Heathrow. BA used to do it and then pulled it during the pandemic. One thing that we love to do is, of course, rate liveries. As we know, we've been doing retro liveries. We may even go to standard liveries. I think there's an option there. Or maybe even concepts as well. I think concepts would be a good one. See what people kind of have drummed up and that. But Jack Rolls says, if you guys had to rate the new purple livery, what would you say out of 10? I'll let you go first.
Well, I was always a massive fan of the old livery, the purple livery with the colours on it and what have you. They were all fantastic. I particularly like the was it the Welcome to Yorkshire livery with the little bicycles on it. I thought that were a nice livery. But
we saw that, didn't we?
We did see it at Manchester, yeah. But the white one now, I wouldn't say the white one with the purple is as nice, but I like the fact that it's got the purple in it as a nod to the old Flybe and what have you. But again, they've just gone down those cleaner lines, what the rest of the aircraft companies have done, really, haven't they? They've just gone for the simple Euro white airplane with the splash of colour on it, really, just to say who they are and give its own bit of individuality. I would probably give it. I would give the other one a 9 out of 10, but I would probably give this one probably nothing more than a 5.5 to 6. I would say
5.5 to 6.
I would say so. It's nowhere near as good.
Wow.
I like it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, say 5.5 out of 6. I think that's quite harsh. I mean, the thing is, you look at like we did with some of the retro liveries, and you have a look at some of the liveries that are out there now. There are some terrible liveries, like terrible ones.
Yeah.
And considering how a lot of airlines have gone, like say for example, an Iceland Air, just a splash of colour down the tail, massive titles that just don't make sense at all, and things like that. They could have done that, but what they've done is they've kept sort of the Flybe identity by putting Flybe on the tail, Flybe at the front where it was before, but that purple as well, but going with a more sort of cleaner version. Of course, don't forget, before they went, they had that 1-8 that was painted in that sort of new livery at the time anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's... I quite like it, if I'm honest. They could have done a lot worse with it, but I quite like it. So I'd probably give it about 7.
Yeah, I'll probably nudge up to a 7. Well, one thing that does worry me about it, being a low-cost carrier as well, and being Ryanair, being Flybe, I don't think it'll get washed. So I think within like 6 months, you're going to see these nice-looking white planes, and I think they're going to be absolutely filthy. That's what I worry about, particularly around engines and what have you. Yeah, I just don't think they're going to clean them.
I mean, is it the Dash 8s that are quite prone to becoming dirty?
Yeah, well, they are, aren't they? Yeah,
I think they're quite prone because of the jet wash coming out of the back of the engines.
Yeah.
I think I might be
imagine
wrong.
they will be. Yeah. I mean, you see some of them now, and if you Google it, I'm sure you can find a dirty. I can't even get my words out. Dirty Dash 8 somewhere, can't you? So yeah, I just think they're going to look a bit tired before the time. Let's say.
Yeah. Just before we jump on, I've just been sent this by Ken himself. This was a old school Flybe Dash 8 at Stansted that he took. He's just sent me that, so I figured I'd shout that out and show it on the screen there for all to see. So that's a really good shot, that, Ken.
It is a really good shot, and I take back what I say about it looking old before its time as well with the dirt. I mean, that looks absolutely fine, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah,
it certainly does. If anybody has any photos or videos, we'll go with photos actually. If anyone's got any photos of any Flybe aircraft they want shared on tonight's stream, then send it to us on Facebook or Twitter. You can DM us on Twitter, which I'll bring up on the screen now. Get it onto that Twitter account, and then we'll get it onto the show throughout the evening.
Yeah.
But yeah, really nice shot that, Ken. Really nice indeed. Excellent.
So just squeezing the last bit of juice out my tea bags.
So let's crack on. Let's go with rumours and things like that. So what was your sort of first thought in regards to sort of hearing that Flybe were potentially on their way back?
Well, you sort of greet it with skepticism, don't you? Especially during the times what we were in at the time. I mean, they all start off as rumours, don't they? But once you start seeing sort of credited things, and there's a lot of knowledgeable people in this industry, and particularly in the groups and what have you, who get to know a lot of this inside knowledge, don't they, first? So a lot of it was quite credible. It's exciting, isn't it? You know, it was fantastic, weren't it, to see it go under, but then to see them actually save the name and the name not to disappear and things like that, because a lot of the time with these kinds of businesses, what go bust, you have to make alterations to names and things like that, but everything's just been kept the same, hasn't it? So yeah, I think it was always quite a credible rumor, because I think even when they went bust, I think the rumors pretty much started circling straight away, didn't they? That they'd come back. Yeah.
Were you sort of one that thought, it won't happen, it's one of those rumor mill type things, or did you think it'd be quite nice if they did actually.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, nobody wants to see anybody go bust like that, but to see an airline which is, I think it's dear to a lot of people's hearts, particularly when you're living in an area like yourself who use it for commuting and things like that, but also use it, as a spotter as well to see a lot of these, Q400s and other planes and what they had and different types of liveries and things like that. They were always nice. Nice to see. They always sounded great. So to hear that they were coming back, and particularly that they were only the only airline to use the Dash 8, it was fantastic because that the planes are going to come back again then. So it's always good to see.
Yeah, I think I was kind of like a lot of people, like especially like Jim Gemmell there saying was a case of believe it when I see it.
Yeah,
because we've seen, we've seen rumors of airlines sort of coming back. Like I know there was talk before about Thomas Cook coming back, and so I think a lot of the time you do see it with you do take it with a pinch of salt, like you say, and
absolutely, yeah.
You sort of wait to believe it when you see it, sort of thing. It's like now, with ITA doing as well as they're doing at the moment. Then there's talk of bringing back the Iberia branding. Iberia, what am I on about? Alitalia. Don't know where I got Iberia from.
No.
Alitalia branding. It's one of those sort of things where it's like, believe it when you see it, sort of thing. Just while we do carry on, I'm going to just play this video that Rob Brown has so wonderfully sent me.
Fantastic, yeah.
Of some aircraft coming into Prestwick. I believe these were diversions, judging by the diverting. Yeah, so these are all supposed to be going to Glasgow, but they've all diverted into Prestwick.
Yeah, I mean, what a cracking sight that is. They're so quirky looking, aren't they? With the nose wheel where it is, and there's absolutely nothing under the fuselage. I think they just look fantastic when they're coming into land. They don't look like they're going to land, do they? They're quite an unusual design, I suppose, but
very sturdy. I think.
Yeah, they are very sturdy, aren't they? Yeah.
Will P says, I do prefer the old purple colours. So this one here on screen.
Yeah. That's the one with the little thistle on the front, isn't it? I've got a few pictures of that one, to be honest. Yeah.
Phil Tovey says, Flybe start flying from the 13th of April from Birmingham to Aberdeen. That is the inaugural flight,
right?
Which has been confirmed. So April 13th. So it's about 2 weeks away, I think.
Yeah, it's only a couple of weeks off now, that's fantastic.
Yeah, 2 weeks or so. Yeah. I'd love to get up there for it, but I know I'm not going to be able to. Jack Rolls loves his APUs. They may be an older airline, but they got character.
They certainly do. Yeah.
The old Flybe came from the old British European and
absolutely
the European as well. So,
that's where the name came from, weren't it? The B at the end of Flybe were British European, weren't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it came from. Was there? So, I remember seeing the old Jersey European. I think it's BAE 146s. I think, or was it the Avros they had?
Yeah, they had the BAE 146s, didn't they? Yeah.
But very very nice livery. I quite like this old blue one actually, the one that's on the screen at the moment as well. I think it's quite nice. It's got some character.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, they are nice liveried. Yeah, really, really are. The old one's definitely better.
Russell Graham says, good shots from my local airport. This is Rob. Yeah, Rob Brown Plane Spotting's video on YouTube. Do give him a subscribe as well. Also, he says, I flew the EasyJet service from Glasgow to Newquay last summer, and it was far better experience flying that route on an A320 compared to the Dash 8. Much smoother and quicker flights. I think whilst that's probably a given, you would go on the Dash 8 purely for the experience.
I think that's what it's about, isn't it, with a Dash 8? You're not flying as high, are you, either? So you get a better view of the ground, don't you? You get a better view of your surroundings, I suppose. But I think it's just the experience on a Dash 8. It's proper old school, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. You can just see stewardess coming around with a Titan flask with a tea in, can't you? With really strong tea in it. And one of those Biscoff biscuits what you get in a posh cafe
Yeah.
place. You know? That's the kind of, and that's just in business class mind.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's not talk about business class, shall we? Since we spoke about the off air, didn't we? About them introducing business class and that.
Yeah.
1981 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, really cool video. This actually of some Flybe aircraft and things like that. Visions International saying, "See, Ian knows his stuff." I think is that to do with the delivery, maybe.
I've no idea. It's all there, Ken. It's all in that.
Rob Brown plane spotting. I don't forgive. There's a Logan airplane on the thing right now, but that's fine. Problem with the relaunch is that they run at the risk of slipping into same old ways as the previous incarnation.
I don't know. I think we talked about this. We Alitalia, didn't we? We Alitalia when they incarnated into ITA now, and I mean, I thought that the first mistake they made, although they look beautiful, is painting the airplanes the way they painted them, just because the sheer cost of having to paint them, and for a business what's gone bust more times than I don't know what, you would think that they would keep it dead simple, wouldn't you? But it seems to be working for them. I'd like to think that Flybe would also have a successful business. I think the thing is with Flybe, there's still that gap in the market for them, what's not been filled properly, and I think they're coming back to fill that gap in. And I think that's where Flybe are hoping to head anyway. So,
I think personally, what their problem was they bought the Embraers in.
Yeah,
because eventually they got rid of the 195s because it was too much plane for them.
Yeah, am I right in saying that they were the launch customer for 195, and they got 26, didn't they? But they couldn't really use them. I'm sure I read somewhere, and that had
it's
something
either the 195 or 17.
195. Yeah, they bought 26 in 2005. They were a launch customer for that particular type. Yeah, but they couldn't. I think they had them, but they had no real use for them.
Yeah, so because of I think it's because of the short nature of the flights that they were doing. Yeah, it was too much plane for it, which is why the Dash 8 was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, you went on one, didn't you, from when you went to Gatwick?
Yeah, went on a 195 and it was half full.
That's it. I mean, that would have been serviced quite adequately with a Dash 8, wouldn't it? To be fair,
whether it was done. Yeah, so whether it was done because of like the day it was, or whether it was just that was the yield that they were that were going with each time, I don't know. But yeah, I know it was half full going and half full coming back.
So that plane would have flown at a loss, I would imagine.
Yeah, but I still I still put it down as one of my favorite flights.
Yeah.
Still put it down as one of my favorite flights because the Embraer 195 is fantastic.
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody says; it's fantastic.
Yeah. Overpowered.
Absolutely fantastic.
I think you said they were quite overpowered, aren't they? When they were taking off, they look like a rocket, don't they?
Yeah, massively. Like it's one of those rare ones where it throws you into into your seat. If you're sort of set forward a little bit, and all of a sudden, pilot just puts the power on.
Yeah,
you just feel yourself just throwing yourself back, and and the climbing rate power as well is phenomenally good.
Yeah,
like so good. Mm-hmm. So yeah, hands down one of my favorite flights.
Fantastic.
So yeah, Rob Brown plane spotting there. Of course, thank you for the video. Says assume the Jersey call sign relates to their past life as British European. Well, Jersey European. That's why they've got the call sign of Jersey. So yeah, it's a nice little nod to their sort of their past. Darren Smith is my kind of dude. He says A320s and 737s are boring. Dash 8s any day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All day long. Yeah, I'd love to go on the 320. Like I'm hoping to try and book Newquay to Heathrow this summer with British Airways, and hoping it's a Neo. I imagine it probably would be. But yeah, I'd still take a Dash 8 any day just for the experience and that. Yeah,
the 320s and the 737s, they're fantastic at what they do, aren't they? Let's be honest, but they're a bit generic and a bit boring, aren't they? To be honest, and
737s are all right. They're not too bad. I've never been on a 320. I've been on a 737-300, and they're really really fun to fly on. But yeah, not only the recent 800s and things like that, but you'd still take a Dash 8. If you turned up to the airport and saw a Dash 8 was taking you somewhere, you'd be like, yes.
Yeah, get in there. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Cheeky little fist bump.
Proper clinging onto your handles.
Yeah, like, come on then, let's do this.
Yeah.
Get me through security now. Visions International pointing out, as we were talking about ITA, ITA will end up just the same as Alitalia, unfortunately. Hopefully not, because their stunning A350, which came out the paint facility shed. We'll call it a shed.
Yeah,
came out the shed in Toulouse during the week, and my God, is it?
proper stunners, aren't they? They really are.
Yeah, that should really have a rating of like 18 plus.
I mean, I do tend to agree with Ken in a lot of ways. There, we ITA ending up like Alitalia. It's sort of written in the stars, isn't it? But you'd like to think that they might turn it around this time. But when you've got people like Ryanair have a base, don't they, in Italy and things like that, the competition's there, isn't it? And it's going to be a struggle for anyone competing with people like Ryanair and EasyJet.
Well, let's hope not. Anyway, let's hope that they. Yeah, let's hope that they.
I hope they do as well.
Especially because I'm still yet to grab a video, bit of video of them. So don't want to flounder just yet, but not at all. But yeah,
I'd like to see them up here.
It'd be nice. I'm sure they will. They'll expand and do things. Jack Rolls going, Tom and Ian, big shout out to you guys. You're true mates and top blokes.
Cheers, Jack.
Thank you very, very much. Just literally going through comments right now, but I don't mind that. Because we'll get on to the routes and everything in a second. Rob Brown, Plane Sport, and agrees with me. Says he agrees that the Embraer was the problem. Expensive to operate. Logan Air had a similar issue. Flew the 175 from Birmingham to Glasgow almost empty. And of course, we saw them at Manchester quite a bit when you and I went. Nearly 4 years ago now. Can't believe how quickly that's gone.
That's gone by, hasn't it?
That's frightening.
Yeah. I'm still milking them pictures now on Instagram. I've still got scars on my legs from sunburn.
We saw quite a few of them. They were lifting off quite quickly, weren't they, as well? And you'd think, powerful, but maybe that was the case with just not having enough passengers on.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm just going to bring another image that Ken has wonderfully sent me onto the screen. I know he put it into the chat earlier that he was looking for it. He did find it, and he has sent it to me. It is a Dash 8 with a Dragonfly.
Oh, fantastic.
So pretty nice, that.
Yeah. A decent shot.
One of those ones where you frame it, I think. It's a really good shot, that.
The profiles are fantastic, aren't they? Just looking at them, they're brilliant.
Yeah, it's a nice little plane. Although I did see Transatlantic Allison showing a lot of love for the Dash 7 because obviously I believe I can't remember if she said she flew them or not. But yeah, Dash 8 is nice, but not as sexy as the Dash 7. Dash 7 is really nice. I won't lie. That's you know what the Dash 7 is, right?
Yeah, it's just a smaller version, isn't it?
Smaller version of 4 props.
Yeah. Okay, right.
Yeah.
The word 4 prop bit, to be quite honest with you there, but I'm sure you used to have a Dash 7 on your flights.
I think we discussed it at the time. I think it was the only the only airliner, I think, to go into Courchevel on a regular service, I think, because it had enough power behind it.
Right.
Yeah, it's the only airliner there's actually video footage of it, which I won't bring up.
No.
But you can go find that on YouTube yourselves. But yeah, the Dash 7 is the only airliner. I think it's regular service into Courchevel because it's the only aircraft that could power. Could sort of manage it.
Yeah.
I will bring a picture up because Alison has sent me one.
Fantastic.
Really?
Yeah. That's Rob Brown's just saying that. Did Alison not fly the Dash 7 with Antarctic Survey?
Yeah, she has sent me a picture, so I'm just going to get that onto the screen now. Or try to. I've just clicked a button that's decided to nuts things up a little bit. Oh, have I done with it? There we go. Got it. So for anybody not knowing what a Dash 7 is, it's coming onto the screen. Great picture, Ken. I will say that. Here we go. There you go. That is the Dash 7 for anyone wondering.
Yeah.
Lovely plane. Really, really nice. Oh, Twin Otter. There you go. It was a Twin Otter. That's why I got confused.
Yeah, of course, it was a Twin
Otter.
Yeah.
That's a Dash. Yeah, Dash 7.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
So, yeah, really, really nice. Really, really nice. So thank you for that picture, Alison. Excellent. So let's move on to sort of the final sort of thing, which we'll spend a bit of time talking about and wonder why sort of they've chosen these sort of things. Okay. So Ken has delightfully sent me another picture. This is what we like. If you've got any pictures, like I said, do send them to us. Or as he said, I think he said, okay, do you know what? I'm going to hang fire on that picture, but let's go into the routes anyway. So as I think it was Phil Tovey mentioned earlier, they are operating on the 13th of April. He said
Birmingham to Aberdeen, weren't it?
Yeah, actually, do you know what? I think that might be wrong. So I've got Belfast to Birmingham on the 13th of April.
I've really not done any research on the routes.
I'm just looking at the routes here. I've got. Do you know? I can't see it. And this was published last week.
Right. Are they only flying one route that particular day?
So they start up with what looks like. I mean, unless I'm just going to have a look at the chat here, just in case. I'll show that picture in a minute. Ken's had a bit of a meltdown. He's had a little bit of a meltdown, but I'll show that picture shortly. So the new routes I've got that are literally in order of the dates and that. So according to what I've got here, the full list of flight routes for 2022. So they are kicking off with Belfast to Birmingham, which I think is probably a return flight, from April 13th up to four times daily later in the year. The following day, they go Belfast to... or am I looking at something completely different here?
I'm just about to bring them up now.
I'll tell you what, I don't trust that one, so let me find...
Yeah.
In actual fact, I might be right.
Flybe.
I am correct. Yeah, no, I'm right. I'm good. I'm just double checking. So Belfast to Birmingham, April 13th, 4 daily later in the year. Belfast to Glasgow from April to 14th, so the next day, up to 4 times daily. Then it's Amsterdam to Birmingham from April 28th.
So they are starting with a European flight straight away, then, aren't they? Which surprises me, really.
Yeah, literally a few weeks in.
Yeah.
1 daily. Amsterdam to East Midlands, which is getting served.
Yeah.
1 daily as well from the 28th. Quite a few from the 28th, actually.
I was just looking. Yeah, they have Amsterdam to Heathrow that day, don't they?
So they've got... so on the 28th of April, they've got Amsterdam to Birmingham, 1 daily. Amsterdam to East Midlands, 1 daily. Belfast to Leeds, up to 3 daily. Belfast to London Heathrow, up to 2 times a day.
Yeah.
And Leeds to Heathrow, which is the one that we're going to be keeping an eye on because we want to see sort of how well it does, which could be up to 3 times daily with no head-to-head competition.
Yeah, that's the one that Alison was saying about, weren't it? Leeds to Heathrow.
Yeah. Which should be pretty... like you say, it's interesting that they've gone for the European routes quite quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, looking here, they've got Birmingham to Avignon, July the 9th. Birmingham to Brest. Southampton. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. Toulon, Jerez. July the 24th.
Great
effort. That's Maltese accent for some reason.
Yeah, that's definitely not Maltese.
Look at that. No.
It's definitely not Maltese.
No.
But a full. We'll continue with the full rundown of them. So Amsterdam to Belfast from May the 28th. That's 1 times daily. Amsterdam to Heathrow, because they got a couple of slots at Heathrow. Amsterdam to Heathrow, May the 29th. That's up to 2 times daily. Then you've got June the 23rd, Belfast to Edinburgh, 3 times daily. July the 7th sees Belfast to East Midlands, up to 2 times daily. And then quite an interesting one is Belfast to Manchester on July the 7th, which is up to 4 times daily. So Manchester will be seeing the new Flybe back there. July the 9th, 1 times weekly instead of daily. Birmingham to Avignon, as you just mentioned. And, of course, Birmingham to Brest as well. YouTube, that's not a swear word. That's a place in France. Just for monetization reasons. Then 23rd of July, Southampton to Avignon, 1 weekly. Southampton to, as you say, Toulon Jerez, 1 weekly. Then we have July 28th, Belfast to Southampton, 2 times daily. Birmingham to Edinburgh, 4 daily. Birmingham to Glasgow, 3 daily on that one. Then in August is where Aberdeen to Birmingham comes in on the 18th of August, 1 times daily. Aberdeen to Belfast on the 25th of August, 4 times weekly. Then we have Belfast to Inverness as well on the same August 25th, 4 weekly. And then lastly, Belfast to Newcastle on August 25th as well, 1 daily flight.
That's really interesting, that. I mean, judging by those flights there, I don't know why they didn't have their head office in Belfast.
Yeah, I believe Belfast is supposed to be one of the bases for them. I think that and that I think they've announced recently. I'm fairly certain of it, unless I've imagined it, that Belfast is supposed to be a big hub for them.
Right.
As well as
it's looking like it. Judging off those flights, they're throwing a lot of cards into the Belfast arena, aren't they? I suppose they're basing a lot of flights from up there, aren't they? Looking at that.
It was, it's it's like you say, like putting all your eggs into the Belfast basket. And there's some very interesting routes on there as well. Belfast to Amsterdam is an interesting one, I think, that I saw as well. It's good to see Southampton get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well.
Yeah.
So obviously they are looking at the south as well, and I believe there is supposed to be some sort of later on, not straight away, maybe not even this year, but then I do believe I have read somewhere that Newquay and Exeter are getting looked at. So whether they'll do both or whether they'll do one is another.
I mean, probably these routes they've got on here are they've obviously done the research, haven't they? They found them probably to be the most profitable routes, what they could possibly do at this given moment in time. Like you say, I mean, it's a young business, isn't it? You give it a couple of years, don't you? 2 to 3 years, and hopefully you'll see it expand and move into these smaller places like your Newquays and places like that. Hopefully, but I think that's a good, certainly a good start for them, isn't it? The service in maybe, I don't know what they're doing. Do you think they're going for business people flying into cities all the time? Belfast City to Manchester and Leeds, Bradford to London, Amsterdam, East Midlands, Birmingham, and they seem to be flying from obviously the bigger cities, apart from Heathrow, the smaller airports in these bigger cities, sort of thing. That's what they seem to be aiming for. So
it's interesting. I know. I think it was Alison just now said that. Is it Manchester? Would she say Manchester to Belfast? I believe she said. There you go. Belfast to Manchester was a busy route, so that'll explain why obviously that route is coming back, which again does make sense. Darren Smith says that he did the Manchester to Belfast flight years ago on the BA ATP. That's going back some time.
Yeah,
I saw a really good picture of a BA ATP yesterday. I think it was on Twitter. That was really cool. No, it was Instagram on the British Airways Landor page if you have a look on there, there's like all it is just landor pictures from planes that have worn it over the time, and yeah, it's like plane, 18 plus plane pictures. It's lovely. Anyway, we have a couple of people saying hello. I know I was going to say King Henry VIII then, but it's not. It's Kevin Henry VIII. Saying evening all. So evening to you.
I've never seen them both in a room together. So
no, conspiracy. Will P. I know I've done this plenty of times with a caps lock, thinking you're doing it the right way, but you're not. Belfast and Birmingham are the main hubs to start with, which explains the huge amount of Belfast flights to begin with.
Absolutely, yeah, it makes sense.
Rob Brown Plane Spotting says a pretty packed upcoming schedule. Time will tell how the load factors look going forward. Trick will be to bin the unprofitable routes quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
Which will be an interesting one. Visions International says good luck to them. So absolutely, 100%. Or we are wishing them the very best of luck with that.
Absolutely.
The Transatlantic Allison says, don't think the day business traffic is the plan. Frequency is not high enough and the slots are too late for day trips. So that rules out your theory of just deliver it like dropping off business people and things like that.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Steve Plains still hanging around with us for a first-time watcher. Probably save Southampton Airport. Be interesting to see if this drives up Aer Lingus prices down with the Belfast routes they're competing with.
It's an interesting one, that, isn't it?
Very much so.
It could go either way, that, couldn't it?
Could be, yeah.
Definitely.
This is what I find fascinating about this whole relaunch of Flybe is it's not a major play. It's not like your British Airways or your Virgins or Americans or anything like that. This is like a UK regional airline, and they're sort of going at it again and trying to sort of provide the same routes as before, but then also trying to do something a little bit different. And I like the way that they're going forward, but hopefully, fingers crossed, this will work out for them. And I think a lot of people are hoping that they do quite well this time around.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, excuse me again. I've got a right tickle in my throat at the moment.
Excuse you.
Yeah, I think I'm all right. I think I'm good now. Yeah, I think a bit of healthy competition for Aer Lingus won't do them any harm at all. I don't think it'll do the prices any harm. I mean, we want to see that business succeed and we want to see it flourish and grow and what have you. But on the other hand, we don't want to get shafted when we fly down to Southampton from Manchester, do we? So there's sort of a fine balance somewhere, isn't there? And I think what's it we're saying? Oh, bloody hell, head's gone. Rob Brown. He was saying, no, it wasn't Rob Brown. Where it was, it was Rob Brown saying that they have to get rid of those unprofitable routes really quickly, don't they? So, yeah, I'll get there eventually. That's why I'm only a contributor normally and a commentator. I don't usually do none of this front of house stuff. I'm usually in the background.
Absolutely. Yeah. Come back, Steve. Come back.
Yeah.
Matthew Harris says, great stream. So thank you very much for that one. Appreciate the compliment. Transatlantic Allison going for Air Fungus will go hard with the price. He's got IAG behind them, and they love to squash or buy out competitors.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. That's quite a worry, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially if you've got IAG in the background as well.
But don't you think Aer Lingus at the moment are sort of trying to spread the wings?
Well, they're also obviously bringing back their old regional airline as well. So,
right.
I think they've recently started sort of redoing flights and stuff. I know the regional section went under, and then they came back with Emerald Airways. I think they're on there. So, be interesting to see what happens. I think there's a bit of competition going on here, regardless of whether both sides decide they're not going to admit to it. I think there's a bit of competition going on.
I think there will be a bit of competition, won't there? It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Hopefully, I mean, nobody's mentioned Logan Air in this little love triangle yet, have they?
No,
they're going to be quite a major player in it as well, aren't they? Into the price wars and things like that. What will go on, I suppose. Let's just let that Flybe I think they will make a success of it. To be quite honest,
fingers crossed.
I think it'll work for them. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Comment of the night so far goes to Sam Danvers, footballing legend. Hashtag don't let Steve come back. And then Steve Plains going, I've stopped taking tips from the host. But is there any sort of I mean, we could go through that and we could sort of break it down a little bit. Is there any routes on that list that you think is going to be a massive hit, and do you think there's going to be a couple on there that might not work?
I think I'd be concerned from a small business like Flybe at this particular moment with the European legs, what they're planning, the Avignons and the Brest and the Toulon Jerez flights. I'd be quite. I mean, the clever people that may have thought this through, haven't they? So, I mean, I personally would have just stuck to flying regional, to be quite honest, and then maybe looked into flying European, because the European market is such a saturated marketplace, isn't there? With that many players now, that for somebody else just to slot in, I don't know. I mean, are the prices going to be right? Are they going to fill the planes up? Would you rather fly on if you're going on holiday, forget nostalgia and the fact that it's on a Dash 8, you've got your wife and kids with you, are you just going to want to jump on an EasyJet 320 and get there in not half the time, but a little bit quicker and a bit more comfort? So there's different factors at play, isn't there, with these European flights?
Yeah,
I suppose. So I don't know. I'm quite interested in the Belfast to Scotland routes they've got, the Edinburghs and Glasgow and Inverness, I think it is, isn't it? So it's quite interesting why they've chose them routes, and I can see why they've chose them routes. But then they've just totally dismissed the southwest of England. But they'll still fly out to places like Inverness, where I would say the footfall would be quite similar to what the southwest of England would provide. It's a shorter flight, obviously, but it's interesting why they've. I mean, Edinburgh and Glasgow, you can totally understand. They've obviously gone for the bigger cities, haven't they? But there's a few there I'd be quite a bit dubious with. But
in fact, I'll tell you what. Well, as you do that, I'm going to put this out to people that are watching right now. If you were speaking to Flybe right now and you had to request one route, what would it be? And tell us why. So that's what I want to know from people that are watching. I want to know what route they would request from Flybe, and I want to know why you would request that from them as well. Matthew Harris pointing out why you've mentioned Inverness is because there's oil workers in Inverness.
That's a good shout. Yeah.
Transatlantic Allison says they need to do a Humberside to London Heathrow route, then she'll be happy. Rob Brown playing spotting. I'm going up now. Glasgow / Edinburgh to Birmingham to head up head to head with Squeezy Jet.
Yeah, Squeezy Jet. Yeah.
I'm not reading that comment out. I've just seen it. I'm not reading it out. Ken Carr says Stansted to Birmingham would be handy. I imagine it'd be quite a short flight, that actually. In fact, you know what? I will read it out. Why not? Jack Rolls has requested.
Oh, no, I'm reading something else.
That's fine. And I was going to say, Jack Rolls has jokingly put Bournemouth to the country of Jordan because he wants to enter that place. We're going to leave that as it is.
I think I would do if I were you, Jack.
Yeah, no APUs there apparently. No. Steve Plain says Newquay in particular is a UK holiday destination with people escaping the north.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's
I'll tell you what, though, Steve. I bet there's twice as many planes coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of northerners come down to Newquay. They love it down here.
Yeah.
Rob Brown plane spotting. Is there any London city routes mentioned? Not at the moment, I believe.
No, not at the moment. No.
Yeah, not at the moment.
They're obviously targeting. They've got some sort of target demographic in mind, haven't they, with the routes they've chosen? I would imagine. Yeah. I mean, London Heathrow, rather than London City, or even Stansted or Gatwick or whatever, the landing fees and things like that. So it's not going to be a cheap flight, is it? Well, we've seen that with the prices, haven't we?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Transatlantic Alison pointing out obviously the Humberside to Heathrow flight, so she can get to work without driving. Not a bad way to commute.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Darren Smith saying, "Great show, gents. Got to go. Catching 7 a.m. Oslo to Heathrow in the morning. Need to be up at 3:30 a.m. So thank you for watching, and
fantastic, Darren.
safe,
get your head down.
Yeah, have a safe flight tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Russell Graham on YouTube pointing out most of their former routes at Newquay were taken over by other airlines, so no room for them there now. I mean, maybe some room could be made. I don't know. I don't quite know I'm not fully clued in with the Newquay sort of structure, but there are sort of other places down here, such as here's the other thing that I'm going to mention is that the old Plymouth Airport would have been suitable for Flybe nowadays. I think anyway. I think that would be sort of suitable. If not, you got Exeter, and of course, they reopen up Bristol if need be.
Got Bournemouth as well, haven't you?
Or Bournemouth,
yeah. You got there's plenty to go at down there, isn't there? But I was going to say, even if there's no room at Newquay, they haven't got a problem in standing on other people's feet, have they? With the flights what they're flying now, so they're not bothered about that, are they? So I think it's just about. I think at this moment in time, it's just about making it profitable, isn't it? And getting re-established again.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah Pass on Facebook saying Stansted to Bristol. Be a decent little run, that. Ken Carr asking how many people fly to Newquay on holiday? Probably quite a few flights throughout the day, weren't there, before?
Yeah, I don't think anybody flies to Newquay from up here.
No, well...
Megabus
it.
Megabus. Get that for £1.
Yeah.
That's how we
If you want to get there super slow rate, you might as well megabus it.
Oh, I've only ever been on one megabus, but that's another story for another day. Yeah. I won't do it again.
We'll do a bus podcast, I think.
Oh no, that's Ken's domain, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you ever need,
we're touching that. Yeah, we're not going into buses.
Yeah. If you ever need somebody just like megabus off Ken, I'm your man.
Matthew Harris, Newquay is quiet, as is Southampton. Plymouth closed due to lack of operators. That is correct. For that one, Ken Carr saying actually Southend ops might be a shout. Check into plane will be a breeze. Plus only 50 minutes on a train to London. It's not a bad little shout. It's not a bad little shout that. And Ken saying, "Don't do a bus podcast. Don't worry, we're not going to touch it. That's all for you." Rob Brown plane spotting. Glasgow to Bristol and onwards to either Frankfurt or Amsterdam. Flew it on Dash 8 20 years ago with BA in brackets. Bryman Airways was always pretty busy. Yeah, not a bad shout that either. Excellent. So, as a final sort of closing note, just to kind of start to wrap up this sort of part of the show, do we see the new Flybe being a success?
I'd like to think so. I think it will be. I think they've got their. They've got those routes sorted, haven't they? They know what they're doing. There's a reason why they've chose them routes. I think they're going to re-establish themselves. I think it's going to take time. I don't think it's going to be overnight. But I think over the next maybe 18 months to 2 years, I think we'll start seeing a lot more of these regional airports getting involved. And I don't know whether they'll carry on flying Dash 8s or what. Who knows?
I imagine they'll stick with Dash 8s. I think they probably would have learned their lesson.
Yeah. But then if they're only doing regional kinds of flights, if they could start doing Southampton to Inverness or Southampton to Edinburgh, they could even start flying 320s or something, couldn't they?
Even if they wanted to stretch, if they wanted to stretch their, broaden their horizons and stuff, and they went a little bit further, they could always turn to the 220.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the costs it'd be phenomenal, like, wouldn't it? But I think they've got their own little niche market, and I think they'll serve it quite well. And I don't think, excuse me, I don't think there's much more room for another EasyJet or another Ryanair, and I don't think Flybe want to become something like that. Maybe what Transatlantic Allison was saying earlier on about the money what we're going to be invested into Flybe, it could have possibly turned it into a third, cheap carrier like the two we've already got, your EasyJets and your Ryanairs. But obviously it never transpired, did it? So sort of they are where they are now. And I think that if they keep that little niche in the market there, what they're serving now in the Dash 8s and just zipping about here, there and everywhere, I think they could serve it quite well and give Logan a run for the money, I suppose.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'd like to see them be a success. I do.
Yeah.
I want to see them around for years to come.
Absolutely,
And I think that the best way to sum it up is what Transatlantic Allison says, where if they can get through the first 2 years, then they've got a good chance of getting through. Yeah,
totally agree with that. Yeah, I think they just got to be careful, haven't they, and just do it slowly, haven't they, and not rush into it. I suppose that's the way. I suppose with any business, isn't it?
Yeah,
not too much too quickly, and we've seen that so many times in some of the podcasts we've done before. We've seen airlines failing because they've just gone gung ho, haven't they, and got into too much too quickly, and it's just backfired on them, hasn't it? So, and it happens all too often, doesn't it?
Well, a massive fingers crossed for the new Flybe. We'll be sort of wishing them well and keeping a good eye on them for the next so many years or so, I'm sure.
Definitely.
And hopefully get to try them out as well.
Yeah. I can't wait to see him again, me in Manchester. That's what I'm looking forward to.
It'll be good. I know they've actually flown one of their Dash 8s down to Newquay a few times, but I've never been around to get it. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So, that is our chat about Flybe done for this evening. Now we are sort of, where we are now, but coming up to an hour and 20 minutes. It seems wrong to kind of finish it now. So what I think we should do very spontaneously is maybe for the next 15 minutes or so, if you're happy with that, Ian, is to kind of throw out a very quick Q&A.
Well, okay, yeah. Can I just quickly throw out a quick glass of water because I'm gagging for a drink?
You disappear. I'll leave you on the screen, but you disappear.
All right.
And I'll just get chatting away here.
No problem.
So, for the next 15 minutes or so, in fact, I will take Ian off the screen just very quickly while we do this. So, for the next 15 minutes or so, let's open up a Q&A. You can ask myself or you can ask Ian pretty much anything you like in terms of aviation. If you want our views on anything, if you want to ask us a simple question, or if you want to ask us as a whole, do feel free to pretty much chuck in any question you like. And I'm going to start off with a question that Ken has put in the chat with, let's keep tonight going, views on BA's problems at Heathrow today. Now, I'm fairly certain if I'm correct, this is the second time this has happened now in about a month or so, I think. About a month or so, Ian has returned. So we're answering the question that Ken's put on views on BA's problems at Heathrow today. Do you know what happened today?
I believe there was another technical hiccup. I didn't read into it, but
another technical problem. I believe this is the second time in a month this has happened, because when I went to do some spotting, I think it was a day after, I think, when Steve, our actual co-host Steve, went up there, and there was a few BA planes not flying because of a technical issue, and a month later, here we are again. I mean, twice in a month, it's not looking good. Doesn't look good for British Airways to have all these problems, especially with your IT. That's going to be enough to kind of cancel a lot of flights.
You think after the first time, I mean, we all experience, whether it's just your internet falling out, or a problem with your phone or anything like that. We all experience IT issues one way or another. But for a massive company like BA to experience an IT issue and not to get it right immediately is a massive, kick to them, because the cost of that IT issue, it's not just the cost of the IT, it's the lost revenue, and obviously they'll be feeling that, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And all these delays and stuff. Like,
absolutely.
Guarantee now, if I quickly go onto Flight Radar, you know, the amount. I mean, it's only what 10 to 9, and just for real life to phone to real life reconciliation. That there, if I just change that up a bit and brighten it down a little bit, that is Heathrow right now.
It's nothing, is it?
I'll change the zoom on it. Hang on.
Yeah.
There we go. That is Heathrow right now.
Yeah, there's not much happening there, is there?
So compare that to a normal day.
Mm.
You'd have lots of planes after plane after plane after plane. It's not great for them, is it?
No, at all. No. The thing is, I mean, you think definitely now after this second IT issue that they're going to nail it this time, aren't they? And like Alison said a bit down comments there, probably cheap IT or something like that, or somebody's cut a corner. But it could be something as simple as somebody pressing Control Alt Delete or something like that. Because I think IT is such a delicate instrument, isn't it? That anything can upset it, can't it? And I think even if it's not an IT issue with a handful of planes within an half an hour window, has got a knock on them for just the rest of everything, hasn't it? With everything, particularly with Heathrow, where everything's on such a tight schedule.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Yeah, it's not great. It doesn't look fantastic for them, if I'm honest. But that'll probably be back to normal in a couple of days, I think, or maybe even tomorrow at some point for the flights to actually catch up on themselves. Because no doubt we'll be seeing, if they end up returning the flights and stuff, they'll be going right into the middle of the night and stuff, I think. So
you're gonna have to do, aren't they? They'll have to catch that back up again, aren't they? But I'm sure they'll sort it, won't they? I'm sure they'll sort it.
Yes. Steve Plains piping up with a question. He says, "Where is Steve? He's the funniest guy on the show." Don't know. Not a clue.
Yeah, I know he said he had a bit of a sniffle or something earlier on today, but
he had a bit of a cold or something. He said,
"I said just to pull his socks up and put his big coat on if he were that cold." But
what is it? Is it that TV advert? What's that advert? Just pull my socks up and I cracked on.
Pull your socks up and crack on.
That's it. Yeah. What advert is that from? I've heard it before.
I don't know.
Pull my socks up and I crack on. I can't think. I remember you said quite a bit, but that's what we've given them the advice of. But hey ho, never mind. Rob Brown, plane spotting. Has Steve mentioned the 737 at Bournemouth destined for Buffalo in Canada? They made the announcement this week. I saw a picture of this actually. Buffalo Airways have bought themselves a 737.
Yeah, I think somebody put a picture up, didn't they?
Yeah, a bit of an upgrade from the DC3s and everything that they've got, and DC6s and that. So, yeah, but that'd be pretty cool to see eventually. I know Isaac and Jack will probably be hot on that case.
Yeah, they'll be all over them too, won't they?
Yeah, no doubt about that at all. Where is it just now? I did see it. There we go. Jack Rolls says, "Tom, before you head off, can you get Ian to try and do an impression of me? I want to see how much he's improved."
He's not improved at all. Yeah. I've got a bit of a throat on as well this week.
Oh, there it is. Pull your socks up and crack on, lad. Let's have a look for some more questions here. He's also then asked, "Tom and Ian, did I ever tell you the story of when my brother had his mate round?" Probably not.
Probably not, Jack, and I don't think that's a story just for now, for time. But too late.
It's not too late, is it?
He's put it on.
All right, okay, that's I can do that. That's fine.
I can just imagine him. Yeah, you get off my brother now, you. It'll be a pitchfork.
Here, listen here, right? Yeah, don't be doing that. So there you go. That's the story that Jack Rolls has put out. So my brother had his mate Luke around, and they were play fighting. I was only young at the time. I thought they were really fighting, so I picked up my plastic cricket bat and accidentally whacked him.
Accidentally.
Get off my brother.
Yeah, you don't accidentally whack somebody after you just picked up a cricket bat, do you?
Nope. Yeah. Oops, I've accidentally picked this up. Oops, I've accidentally swung it.
Yeah. Steve Plains has asked us there, will you both be getting the Concorde on Microsoft Flight Simulator? It's not for me, I'm afraid, Steve, and for the simple reason, as Tom's probably got the photographs, the way I bounced that A320 into Malta today, I'm not fit to fly a Concorde. I'm not fit to fly a paper airplane, I'll be honest with you, but...
And it's only a simulator, so God knows what it'd be like in real life.
No.
I, on the other hand, will be, because then it means I can do transatlantic flights in about 3 hours, which I'm happy to do. So yeah, I'll definitely be purchasing that.
Yeah, it'd be a fantastic plane to have on that sim with the level of detail and stuff.
It looks really good. It looks really good from the screenshots and the posts that the developers have put up, and everything else like that. It looks really, really good. And there's quite a few airliners coming this year to flight sim, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I'll definitely be one to buy the Concorde, no doubt. It's cheap as well, considering considering if you were to buy like the CRJ 700 and that, it's like 40 odd quid.
Yeah, there's some really expensive ones, isn't there?
To buy Concorde, like 28 quid.
Yeah,
you'd think it'd be the other way around, but for it's an absolute bargain for me, like 28 quid for Concorde. But I'm going to wait for the reviews to see if people think it's any good.
Yeah. Transatlantic Alison there, she's put Sims are ordered to land now. You'll be proud of me, Alison, because I actually landed a greased the 330 because we flew them 330-900s, didn't we, as well today?
We flew the 330 Neos, yes.
Yeah, and I managed to land one in Gibraltar and still had what a couple of 100 meters. No, it weren't that. Were it about 30 meters? I think I ended up we left on runway, and I think you had a bit longer than me, didn't you?
I had a bit longer than that because I used the reversers.
Yeah, well, I think you were reversers. Maybe not as quick as you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, flying the 330 Neo into Gibraltar was an interesting experience, and then flying what was it we flew? I flew the 767 into
Malta.
Flew the 767 into Malta and sort of greased that. And as I was watching you come in, it was watching a child on a bouncy castle.
It certainly were like throwing a bouncing ball down runway, weren't it?
Pretty much, pretty much.
It was a shock of that, to be honest. But there were no injuries, and everyone got out, and everyone were happy.
Not that you could see because we bailed as soon as we landed, so not that you could see any injury.
In fact, when I taxied to the gate, I think I nearly stuck the nose through the gate, didn't I? And ended up in departure lounge.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it weren't my best. That wasn't one of my best. Yeah.
Quick one from Jack Rolls. Tom and Ian, out of the 3 787 variants, what's your favourite? For me, it's the 787-9. I think I'll have to go with that. I'm more of a 350 guy, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm more of a 350 guy. I think the 9 as well. I think the 10's a bit long, isn't it? Yeah, it looks a bit too long, doesn't it? But the 9 is just about right, isn't it? And I think, and I know we were talking about deliveries last week. And they don't suit retro liveries, do they? But a lot of the liveries, what they do have, they look absolutely fantastic in it. They are proper.
100%.
Yeah, they're proper bonny looking planes. They really are.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. I'd still say 350, but.
Yeah, 350 all day long. But yeah, 787 variant, definitely the -9. -10 is too long. Quite like the -8, but -9 for me is easily the favourite. Question here from Ken. It says, Tom, whilst obviously you guys enjoy flight sim, etc., what the hell do you do whilst flying the Atlantic for hours? Genuine question. I stick that puppy on autopilot and go do what I need to.
Absolutely, and I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, today it was all about getting tonight's show ready. It was all all about this tonight. So
pretty much. I mean, in the 2 hours, was it 2 hours? 2 hours that we flew.
Two and a half hour flights, weren't it? About that, weren't it?
2.5 hour flights, Bristol to Gibraltar. We just stuck it on autopilot, and then we discussed this evening's show. Yeah, and as soon as we landed in Gibraltar, we took off, went off to Malta in the end, and that was like 2 hour flight, and then we just carried on prepping for tonight. Yeah. I think if anybody sits there for the entire duration of the flight, like if you're doing it in a it's like before. I only ever done it once, and it was on flights. I think it was 2004. I think it was where I've done a transatlantic flight in a Delta 777-200 long range, and I actually sat here and watched it. And I vowed to myself after that never to do that again.
No.
So after I realised it was autopilot and stuff, so once I knew that, I was like, boom, straight onto autopilot.
I think the beauty with flight sim and this flight sim as well, you can actually you can do the interesting bit, can't you? And when you get to cruising altitude, you can just do the interesting bit coming into land, can't you? And just skip the middle bit totally if you want to. Or even fast forward it if you wanted to, can't you? So you can cheat a little bit, can't you?
Yeah, I think fast forward it kind of defeats the object for me. So I just tend to autopilot, go off and do what I need to do, and then calculate it. Need to be back in about 3-4 hours. And then once that's done, I'll come back, and then the rest is pretty much good to go. Slightly different with Concorde because you only got a couple of hours to do something, but yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Is I stick on autopilot and walk away from it.
Yeah, that's what you need to do, isn't it? Yeah, carry on with your business, can't you?
Get to cruise, go to the pub decent.
Yeah, and forget to land it.
Yeah, forget to land it and overpass the airport.
I know when I downloaded that 330-900 for the first time, I always do a little short flight, and it was I think it was Manchester to Shannon or something like that. And I took off, got it up into, got myself to a relatively decent altitude. It weren't too high. Went about and did some bits and pieces, and then when I came back in, I had a look and I could see Shannon underneath me at about 20,000 feet or something. So that was a bit of a disaster. So I had to sort of nosedive it into
nosedive it. Yeah, probably not the best solution. Yes,
that didn't go well either.
Sam Danvers says, "Have you done a flight to Sydney from London?" I think it's far too long for me.
Yeah, definitely.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I like transatlantic and stuff like that, and I don't mind like 7, 8, 9 hour flights, but to do London to Sydney, yeah, probably not for me.
No, not for me either. I bet there are diehard people out there. I mean, some of these flight sims, what you see these people have created in the bedrooms and things like that, with all the screens and the virtual cockpits and things like that, are absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure that they've done flights like that, but I certainly couldn't do it.
Absolutely not. No. If you ever want to know what a pilot does in the air, Alison's just put in. She does a crossword.
There we go.
There you go. All you need to know. So, let's pause. I think we should do this at the end of each show. I think that'd be quite nice, actually, to kind of do a little Q&A and stuff, so people can get questions in about topics and that. I think that's quite cool. But we're going to begin to wrap the show up. So thank you, everybody, for watching this evening. Hopefully you've learned a lot and sort of enjoyed our sort of chat about the return of Flybe. Hopefully it's been a lot of fun. I know I've enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed tonight's show, Ian?
I have done. Yeah. It's gone really fast and all that. It's gone really, really quick tonight. But
probably because Steve's not here.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
we don't mean that really, Steve.
So.
Yeah, we don't mean that really.
No, it's been fantastic, and it's been nice again to see all the names again in the chat as well, and then some decent questions in there as well. So
yeah, it's a good question. It's a very good question. Yeah, big thumbs up to everybody. So this is the part of the show where we do some shout outs now. So if anybody has any shout outs that they want to give into the chat, now is the time to do so. We'll show them on screen whilst we do ours. So Ian, if you'd like to do some shout outs to whoever may deserve one.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be many, to be fair, but no, just a big shout out to everybody who's been watching again tonight, who's been listening, who's sat in the background, who's been commenting and what have you. It makes number one, it makes our job a little bit easier, being able to read all comments out, and it's nice to have the comments involved in what we're doing as well, and it sort of throws, tonight it's thrown a bit of a different angle onto things by doing a bit of a Q&A at the end and things like that, because that's come through the comments. So that's absolutely fantastic. So a massive shout out to you guys. Big shout out to Steve as well, because I know, joking aside, he's pretty rough at the moment, Steve. It's not COVID or anything, so there's nothing to worry about, but he's suffering quite bad. So you get well soon, Steve. I'm sure you'll be up on your feet again in no time. So, and that's it. Yeah.
I think this one has now taken over from from Sam Danvers' comment of the evening, and it goes to Alison. One last question. If you didn't have a thumb, would the bottom half of your sandwich fall off? We are now testing that.
Yup.
I don't know if it would. Depends how you grasp it, I guess.
I use a knife and fork. Like Steve does with his pizza.
You want to have a word with yourself, honestly.
Yeah, no. I just stick it in a horse bag and hang it over my ears.
I just put it in a blender and drink it with a straw.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, dearie me. Right, a few comments here. So Jim Gamble says, "Take care, everyone. Even you, Sarah. Catch you all next time. Thank you very much, Jim, for watching." Jack Rolls giving me a massive shout out for the watermark that I made him for his photos. Not a problem at all. Where did I get to? Matthew Harris.
Totally improved them and all that.
Yeah.
Now it covers them up.
Don't know. Matthew Harris says, "Great job, guys. Thanks again." Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for watching. And Ken Carr would like a shout out to his grandson, Austin. So a big shout out to your grandson.
Yeah, massive shout out to Austin there. Yeah.
And a big thumbs up as well.
Well, I was just thinking about the thumbs now. Now, Alison's got me thinking, how do you do a thumbs up if you haven't got a thumb? So it'd just be.
Well, it's got to be one of these fingers, isn't it?
Yeah,
Can't be that one. Can't be that one.
No, let's leave it where it is.
Leave it there. Yeah, let's walk away from that. Right, I'll do some quick shout outs and then we'll get on to who next week's guest is because it's a big one.
Yeah, next week.
So, big shout out to everybody watching this evening. We had quite a big number of people watching, and always fills me with a big smile on my face. Fills me with a big smile on my face because it's bringing a community together, and that's what we enjoy.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So big thank you to everybody watching. Big thank you to Sarah and Ken for allowing us to again stream onto their channels as well and invade for the day. So big thank you to you guys for that. Big thank you to you, Ian, for stepping in as the co-host. May have to give you the promotion and knock down Steve to contributor. And of course, big shout out to Steve for being the big wuss that he is with a little bit of a cold. Everybody watching in the background, and of course, as always, frontline workers, healthcare workers around the world, wherever you are, always the biggest of shout outs to you for the continued efforts throughout this weird time that we're going through. Just as a last thing, this seems to be a thing that we do every week. Chutney Ideas. Rob Brown, Plains Point, says, "Best wishes, troops, cracking as always. P.S. Had a nice mango chutney with my chicken tikka. Would you go for a mango chutney with a chicken tikka?"
I do actually like a mango chutney. Now, it's a staple, isn't it, when you go to any curry house? You always get your 3 little dishes. You get your little tub of red onions, you get your little tub of mango chutney, and you get that disgusting lime pickle. That is vile, that stuff. But you can't beat a pompadour with a bit of red onion and dipped into your mango chutney. Top man there, Rob.
Beautiful. There you go. Any suggestions for chutneys this week?
Oh, no.
Or have I just put you on the spot?
Now you've thrown me under a bus here, Tom.
So should we save it for next week?
I think so. I can rustle something up for next week.
Muscle something up for next week, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, we've got Easter coming up, haven't we? So I might think of an Easter chutney, what you can all enjoy over Easter. Yeah.
Don't make it too fun. We'll get into trouble. You know what the snowflakes are like. We'll get into trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Also, before we go, this is the picture that Ken was having a meltdown about with the dragonfly.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a different version of the dragonfly.
Yeah.
Picture that Ken sent earlier. That's what he was having a meltdown about. He finally got the right one. So there you go. Nice picture. That decent to catch the dragonfly as clearly as he did as well.
Yeah, he's done really well though. It's a cracking picture, that.
So who's on next week, I hear you ask? Why are we making such a big deal about it? So we had it on for episode number 3, where it was just myself and Jer. I think we were just the only hosts of the show. things have changed since then, and we've done 52 episodes since then. So it'd be nice to catch up on what's been a year's worth of the Departure Lounge podcast, which is amazing to even think about right now. We'll probably do a bigger celebration for it next week. But yeah, so it's been a year since this show has started, and we thought no better way to kind of celebrate that than with next Wednesday having former British Airways 747 captain and TV personality. It is, of course, Kat Burton will be rejoining us to see what she's been up to for the year since she's been on the show. Of course, many of you will know Kat Burton through Twitter and everything else. But of course, if you watch the TV program Plane Spotting Live, I think it was called
Plane Spotting Live, yeah,
she was the expert on there. So she's been in the sort of in the company of Andy Peters and was the other guy's name? Was it
Jon Snow, weren't it?
Jon Snow or something?
I think so, yeah.
Peter Snow. That wasn't what I was saying. Peter
It was
Snow.
one of them, weren't it?
Yeah. So she was on there, and of course she's a well-renowned former British Airways 747,
absolutely
400 captain. So we're very much looking forward to having her back on the show. If you have any questions for Kat, of course, think of them for next Wednesday, where she'll be on the show to answer them all within reason, of course. So Kat Burton with us next week. So excited for this. So excited to have her back. So, yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, other than that, all that's left now is to say our goodbyes. So, Ian, if you'd like to say goodbye to the wonderful people still watching.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in tonight, watching. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as me and Tom have enjoyed it. And hopefully see you all again next week for when we've got Kat Burton on. And I'm really, really excited for that. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, it's going to be good
forward to that. Yeah, I might tell Steve to have another cold next week. Enjoy that a bit.
Absolutely wonderful. So no doubt we'll see you next Wednesday, Ian.
Yeah, there's a little comment there from Alison. Say hi to Kat for me in case I'm flying. So
wonderful. Yeah,
it'd be nice if you're here with us, Alison. But yeah, definitely fantastic.
Yeah, we'll make sure we do that for you.
Yeah, brilliant. See you guys.
Wonderful. There goes Ian. So just a couple of quick notes. As I pointed out before, do leave a like on the stream if you're enjoying it, whether it's the Visions Aviation Facebook page, Visions International YouTube page, or of course our own page at the Departure Lounge. And of course, if you're new to any of it, Visions Aviation or the Departure Lounge, do consider subscribing to not just myself, but of course to Ken and Sarah at Visions Aviation as well. Well worth subscribing to. Interesting content. You can't really go wrong with it. So yeah, do consider subscribing if you are new. Other than that, we will see you next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. for another episode of the Departure Lounge podcast here on all the channels. Kat Burton will join us. Looking forward to it a lot. So all that's left to say is take care. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Have a fantastic weekend. And we'll see you on Wednesday. Take care, everybody. See you later. Bye.